just watched back my last recovery update video just to like see what I could like talk about in this one, and I thought it was like 2 months ago tops, and it was in July, which is like 5-6 months ago. Good afternoon and welcome to my channel. If you're not regular here and you've not seen my face before, I am Lauren. If not, welcome back. As always, I do these kind of videos supposedly every 3 months, but apparently not, because it's been a long time since the last one, and now I also have another diagnosis which I'll touch on in a little bit, and I will put timestamps down below if you've clicked on this video for like a certain aspect of it. But I will link all of the past mental health updates. I don't know how many I've done now, but I'll link them all down below as well. This is the most recent one, in case you do want to go and check that out first. If you've not yet subscribed to the channel, please do. It's a nice safe place here and I'd love you to join the recovery journey. Also, if you are new and you don't know about my TikTok, I run a like recovery account where I set myself like challenges. I do much more regular updates than I do on here in like daily videos. So I think I'm going to break this video down into citalopram, emeto and my other diagnosis. I'll put them into one, and then also like going forward how like therapy's going, like switching psychiatrists and stuff, because I have a new psychiatrist now. I'm firstly going to touch on citalopram just so I can like get that out of the way, touch on that briefly. So I'm not repeating myself with the citalopram story times and stuff. I will tag the videos that I made on them above or in the description. In case you've clicked on this video and you're about to start citalopram, I did actually vlog my first 7 days on it and did like daily updates of like the side effects I was having and just how I felt like overall. So if you want to go and see that, then that'll be tagged somewhere. I've been on citalopram now for about 1.5 years, or coming up to 1.5 years, and I do genuinely think it is still one of the best decisions I made after like years of not wanting to start them. Starting them was a good idea. I've recently upped my dose, so I was on 20 milligrams and now I'm on 30 milligrams. I gradually went up over like, I think it was about a 1.5 weeks, 2 weeks. The reason behind upping my dosage was because I kind of felt like it had stopped doing its job properly. I don't know if I'd built up some kind of like immunity to it, because that is quite common with antidepressants and stuff. There wasn't the edge that I usually got from it, so I agreed to go up 10 milligrams, and I think it's like, it takes like a few weeks to like settle in your system, but I have noticed the odd like spark of something. I don't know how to explain it. Hello from Editing Laws. Basically, I just needed to add something onto the situation. So I'm obviously talking about upping my meds, and I don't mention any like issues that I've had with it, and I don't really know why, because I don't think I realised then. But basically, since I upped my meds, I hadn't been sleeping too well, and I was like, I often don't sleep too well. But that night, and since that night, so that was Tuesday night and it's now Friday, I like pretty much haven't slept. I've had like maximum 2 hours sleep a night, and now I know that it's because I've upped my meds. And I was quite shocked, because when I first started citalopram, like it affected my sleep a little bit, but not this much. So I'm just really confused, and maybe a word of warning to like up your meds slower than I did, because I didn't expect that much of like a shift in like my overall mood, like my sleep. Obviously they all like come together as one, but like the insomnia I've had the past week is literally awful. I've been so irritable, like I've just had like no drive to do anything, which probably like ties in with the sleep and stuff, and I'm hoping that I'm like near the end of it, because last night wasn't as awful, but it's been an awful week, to be honest. I've not been able to like go to uni. I've had to like cancel plans and stuff because I've literally been like a zombie. But yeah, going forward with that, I basically try that for like 2-3 more weeks, and then I see my psychiatrist and then speak to him about it, and if upping the dosage didn't work, I can swap to a different medication, which is rather scary. And if I do that, I also will be doing like vlogging the first week again, because I feel like that's like a bit of a milestone. Side effects, I still have 1 or 2. I still have really vivid dreams, not even necessarily nightmares. My dreams just literally feel like so much more realistic than they used to. Like obviously not, because some of them are very unrealistic, but like they look so real, and sometimes I can't really tell a difference between like if something's happened and if it was a dream or not. It's just really strange. I think I've said it in a past video that I feel like I'm dreaming in 4K. Another one is like itchy skin, so like mostly on my legs and sometimes my arms. I don't know if that's definitely from citalopram, but I do know that it can be a side effect. I just assume it is because of like the timeline of when my skin starts to become itchy. It's normally over night time too, so it's not so much in the daytime, and it's like an itch that does not go away. Moving on to the psychiatrist situation, I have recently swapped psychiatrists to a new one, which I really like. He's miles better than the last one. I've only met him once over Zoom, but like instantly I was like, yeah, this one. I get better vibes from this one. I had quite a bad experience with my last one. People have probably had worse experiences, but for me, it just wasn't a very fun time, and I kind of lost a lot of hope in recovery because of it. Obviously, I'm not going to name names or anything, but my psychiatrist just didn't really listen to me, and I think it's important, like, if you have a psychiatrist at the moment that you're not getting on with, like, you don't have to stick with them because it's not aiding your recovery. And personally for me, with being private, it is so expensive. We were putting like so much money, thankfully through insurance, but like so much money into absolutely nothing, and I wasn't being listened to. Every time I like brought up like a symptom I was having or something to do with emeto, he'd be like, it sounds like autism, but he'd never like take it further. I just personally like didn't think that was right. Now I've did my family, now I've did my friends. He also tried to make me feel like just an emotional teenage type girl, even though I'm not a teenager. I'm not far from a teenager, I'm only 21, but like, doesn't explain it really. If that was the case, why am I absolutely terrified of food? Like, it just didn't make any sense. I went through a long process to try and swap psychiatrists, and let me tell you, it was worth it. So my new psychiatrist diagnosed me with, again, phobic anxiety disorder, which is the emetophobia, and also OCD, and wasn't a surprise, if I'm being honest. Like, it wasn't. So for months I've kind of like had an inkling that it was OCD, just because of like how intrusive things were compared to how they used to be, and how like obsessive I was becoming over certain things. It's mostly like the theme of contamination, but I do think it does show up in other aspects of my life, which I'm not going to touch on because I could be wrong and that needs more exploration. For now, it's mostly contamination OCD, and that's like the most prominent part of it that I need to work on. I can always do a video on contamination OCD because I think there's a lot of like misconceptions and stuff with OCD, and lots of like misunderstanding of like people's like views on it and like what people think OCD is, because even I didn't particularly know, and I've obviously had to do some research and stuff, and I've learned so much, and I've been like ignorant and stuff in the past, which I'm gonna hold my hands up and say that I have. So I'm gonna be working on that too, but it's a big learning curve. Getting the diagnosis was a big mixture of feelings because I kind of knew it anyway, but at the same time it was like, okay, so I do have it. It's gonna make recovery a bit harder, but yeah, it's got pros and cons of getting a diagnosis in like any situation. I think now I've got the right diagnosis and can move forward with it, I guess. So that's where we're at right now. Another thing that sets the two psychiatrists apart completely is when I had my last appointment with the previous psychiatrist back in August, I went into that and I was like, okay, I want to try therapy again, because I'd done therapy in the past and I'd done meds, but I'd never done a combination of meds and therapy. So I went into the session and was like, I think I'd like to try a combination of both, and he pretty much said no and was like, here's another medication. And he knew that I wasn't a fan of medication. He knew how long it took me to get onto citalopram, so the last thing I wanted to do is add a second medication on top. But I got the prescription. I just felt so patronised, really. Went into this session with the new psychiatrist and he straight away was like, you should have been offered both, like, you were willing to do it, you're going to be paying for it as well. Like, it just makes sense. Like, I'd never tried the combination of both before, so that could be the thing that works for me, but I wasn't allowed to do that with the last psychiatrist. I actually had my first therapy session yesterday and I had to travel down to Altrincham, which was a nightmare of a journey, to be honest, because I obviously don't particularly like trains and public transport, but we had to get 2 trains and a taxi to the hospital. It went surprisingly better and quicker than I thought it would. It's always like the anticipation anxiety, that's probably an easier way of saying it. The train itself wasn't too bad, but it was just a very long day having to do the journey back and forth, but it was definitely worth it because I really like the new therapist. We are going to be trying CBT, which I've tried in the past, but I think back then I was a lot younger. I last did CBT when I was like 17, and I don't think I was like fully in the mindset to get better. Like, I just couldn't be bothered. At the same time, it didn't affect my life as much back then, so it was like, oh, like, it's not the be all or end all, but now it's like the be all or end all. So I'm going to put absolutely everything into this therapist and hope for the best. The session went really well yesterday anyway, but it was just like getting to know her, which I expected, and then the real stuff starts next week. So I never said that I wasn't absolutely terrified for what's to come, but I'm just hoping that it'll be worth it, and I do genuinely believe that it will be, which is refreshing to also have in my mind as well. If the camera's moved, I do apologise. My concentration span isn't the best, so I went and got a drink and had a bit of a break from filming because I just couldn't get any words out, and I was like, okay, we're gonna stop for a bit. I've already forgotten what I'm gonna say. Yeah, I'm just gonna talk about like generally how I've been since the last video, because I did have a bit of a rough patch that it took a lot of mental strength to get out of. I went through a bit of a bad patch in about like October, November, where I kind of just like lost myself in recovery. I wasn't trying to recover for the right reasons. That is like the most important thing. Like, you've got to want to get better like for yourself in recovery. I've learned it the hard way many times, and sometimes I do slip back into like that mindset, and I do just need a bit of like space to be like, okay, let's compartmentalize all of this and like figure out what the hell you're doing, basically. I was definitely like pushing myself too far, too quick to like prove myself and to prove that I was like a good enough person to like stay in people's lives, which is really unhealthy to think. But I did genuinely like believe that like I had to like prove myself, which I shouldn't have ever like been in that situation, but sadly I was. I had a bit of space and I came back better than ever. Hopefully not better than ever, hopefully I will be a lot better than this in the future. Now I have my priorities straight, and I don't even know why. Like, I think just like having a bit of space and like taking a step back and then kind of like getting my feet back on the ground, because I felt like I was like just treading water a little bit, and now it's just clicked that I do want to get better for the right reasons. Like, I want to get better for me, but I think it's also like really important to point out that I've always thought in recovery and always been told that I have to want to get better like for me. I just think that's really isolating at the same time. So it's like, as long as I want to get better for me as like a main thing, then that's okay. But there is always going to be other factors like surrounding that I also want to get better for. So I do want to get better for like my future kids. I want to get better so I can, I don't know, like make mum and dad happy, for example. Like, they've had to help me a lot the past few years, and I want to get better so that they don't have to like worry as much about stuff. I want to get better for like my relationships, like my future jobs and stuff. As long as I like keep my priorities straight and don't like let myself slip down the wrong lane, I guess, then I think it's fine to want to get better for other reasons too. But I do feel like much more in control and much more like positive about it all, which obviously getting a new psychiatrist and a new therapist is like a big part of that as well, because it feels like a fresh start, and like I actually have been paired with like two really good people in my eyes. So hopefully in my next recovery update video things will be like a lot better than they are right now. There are also like two big factors of what got me out of my little spiral, other than like my therapist and psychiatrist. But my family from Australia also came home like over Christmas, and every time we were all together, like the whole family, like I just have like a moment and sit back and be like, wow, life is beautiful. And it just reminds me that life can be like amazing, and there's just so much like happiness in those few weeks that they were home. And it made me think like, wow, like I actually do have it in me to like feel like complete. And I really surprised myself over Christmas. Like, I was so excited for my family to come home, obviously, because I hadn't seen them in 6 years. But there was also a part of me that was like, oh my god, like what if I can't keep up with the plans? Or like, what if like they think I'm weird, if they like pick up on like my anxious behaviours and stuff, which obviously they wouldn't, because they're amazing people. Like, they're not gonna be like, what the hell is like she doing? But I surprised myself so much. Like, I didn't have to cancel on any of the plans. I don't know how I did it. Even like food, and there were so many social situations that I got through and didn't have a panic attack. I don't know how I did it. Like, I genuinely don't know how, but I think that gave me so much more confidence in myself, because when my panic attacks came back last year, I just had so much of a knock, and I was like, oh my god, not again. Like, I'm gonna fall completely back into this spiral. But I bounced back so much quicker than I would in the past. And obviously I'm still like terrified of having panic attacks. Like, every day I get to the end of the day and I'm like, whoop, did it without a panic attack. Another thing that's really helped me, especially with the emetophobia side of things, is the emetophobia manual. And I think I'm on chapter 10 of this so far. I've tried so many like self-help books and emetophobia books before, but if you have emetophobia and you've not tried this, or even if you don't have it but like someone you love has it, or like your child or your mum, I don't know, I really recommend this book. I don't know how much it actually is, but I can always link it down below. It's on Amazon, I'm pretty sure. I've never felt so like understood. It's already helped me separate myself from my anxiety. For years I was like, anxiety and emetophobia is me, like that is who I am, but it's not. It's a part of me that I can like detach myself from, and it's really just opened my eyes, and it's got like really helpful things in it, and it covers like everything possible. I just scrolled through quite a scary page. There's a page here with, I've lost the page now. It's basically got like QR codes to like exposure things, to like pictures of people being sick and stuff, which I haven't got to, that's near the end of the book, but we'll get to this. Again, who was in Catcher, the Emetophobia Manual by Ken Goodman. Obviously I don't know if it's going to cure me, but it's definitely helped me in some way, and hopefully will continue to. I think I've spoken about everything that I need to. Yeah, I think I have. I hope that you've enjoyed or like found this video helpful or insightful in any way. I think I will do like a more in-depth like OCD, like maybe a Q&A, or like, I don't know, I'll figure out a video about contamination OCD, because I also want to like spread awareness for that and stuff as well, because it's not really that heard of. It's more positive than my past ones have been, so we love that for Search for Sunshine. Thank you for watching, and if you've not already subscribed, then please do it. Bye!